Hey everyone, it's your girl Rene. I hope that you are doing well today. I hope that your week is also going well. Um, this is a pre-recorded show, so please forgive if I don't see any questions that may be posed to me. We aren't live, but I hope that you can get some good information um, from the show that I have to do today. Um, there is one thing that I want to chat about, and just give me one moment while I go collect that information. Thanks for giving me a moment. All right, so I always advocate for, self-care. We're taking care of ourselves, so we can stand till the long fight. But the thing that I want to talk about is checking on your comrades and those that you've been in a fight with. Um, Sometimes our comrades aren't good. Sometimes we can only focus on the things that's going on with ourselves, and we don't realize that someone close to us needs our assistance. So, try to be a little mindful of your comrades, those that you march beside, that you stand beside, those that are in the fight with you. Reach out to them if you notice you don't see them as often, or you notice they've gotten a little quiet, or they, express some type of stress. Take a moment to help take care of each other. That's one of the things about being human. We have to make sure that we're taking care of each other. If everybody would be mindful of each other and take care of each other, we'd live in a much better world. But until we can get to that point where most everyone cares about each other, or everyone does care about each other, we have to take care of those that we know that need it. So make sure that you're reaching out to your friends, just doing a check, even if everything seems okay. Just reach out to them and just see how they're doing. Ask how they're doing. You'll be surprised sometimes when you see someone strong. You ask them how they're doing, and they might break down, or they might just start downloading all this stuff. Sometimes we just need somebody to talk to. We just need a shoulder, a friend. So make sure you reach out to your comrades and your friends, and make sure that they're doing okay. Okay, it's like in the military we used to call them buddy checks. Check on your buddy. All right, so we got some news, right? This is Rene again. Thank you for being here. All right. And I'm your host of Activism Across the Nation. It is brought to you by Plus Nation. Please make sure that you add the Plus Nation Coalition, and you add me also across the different platforms. You can find me at the J Renee. You'll see it below on my ticker, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find me on the J Renee. I'm not as active on Twitter as I used to be, but I'm gonna get back into the swing of things. So I appreciate y'all while you take some patience with me while I do that. So let's start. So after almost 30 years behind bars, okay, Dante Mitchell is finally being released. Okay. He is housed in New York, and the outgoing governor has granted him clemency. Now he has been a guest on this show, and I've also talked about his story, but I'll give you a brief backing on him. He was charged with a crime when he was a teenager, and he was given 35 to 70 years. And in this particular crime, he was guilty of the crime, but there was no one who was physically hurt, harmed, killed, or anything like that. So the amount of time that he got for that was absolutely kind of outrageous. If you pay attention to the things that were said by the judge and things like that, they kind of wanted to make an example of him instead of having justice really be served. So we are very glad, and we congratulate him for getting out. He does need our assistance, though. He's been locked up for almost 30 years, and he went in as a teenager. When it comes to the things that we all, in the free world know how to do, which is kind of take care of ourselves, do XYZ, be able to build incomes, he has to kind of catch up. So what he's asking for is donations, no matter how small, to assist him on, the first few months of getting his feet on the ground until he can get his first paycheck from a job that he already has lined up. Okay. If you're interested in knowing that GoFund information, I'm gonna tell you 2 ways that you can find it. 1 second, I dropped something. And I'm back. So, if you're interested in knowing how to get this information so you can assist him on his goal on, reintegrating, okay, you can send the text Dante, that's DONTIE. You can send that text to 914-655-4993. That's Dante, DINTIE, to 914-655-4993. And I'll send you the GoFundMe link directly. Now, if you're trying to do it a different way, you can go to his Instagram. On his Instagram is free Dante Mitchell. All right, remember Dante is DINTIE and then Mitchell. Okay, MITCHELL. And under the bio, you can find the link. You just click right on it and it go directly to his GoFundMe account. He definitely will appreciate any assistance that you have and can give. All right. Thank you very much for that. So let's talk about a phone zap. Well, before we get to the actual phone zap, I want to talk about some phone zaps that we did in some past, some things that were going on that I want to get y'all up to date on. All right. So when it comes to Shine White, that was out of Alexandria Correctional. We have got word that he has currently been let out of the hold. He still doesn't know why he was put in hold for the first place, and we have no more information at this time. Keeping contact with Sean White is something that is increasingly difficult because of the retaliation that happens to him at this facility because of his things that he do. He is a White Panther. He is very active in making sure right and just things are happening at this facility because this facility is known for some corruption. Okay, this is the facility that I was telling you about the other week that is giving out moldy food and things like that. His ability to stand up against this, his intestinal fortitude to stand up against this makes him the target. And this is one of the reasons why he ends up in solitary confinement, restriction of the phone, and things like this. If you would like to support Shine White in any way, get more information about what's going on with him or some of the past phone zaps, so you can call up there and let him know that he does have support outside of the walls and that people are paying attention. You can text SW, all right, that's SW, to 914-655-4993. That's for Shine White. You'll put SW 914-655-4993. All right, so Shaka Shakur. All right, the last time we talked about Shaka Shakur, he was an incarcerated person that was in Virginia. Okay, he was locked up in Virginia. He's still locked up in Virginia. He's still trying to get released from there and put closer back to home. Right now, we don't have any new news if that'll be able to help. Okay, thank you for it. That's the number that you want to text when it comes to information. We are lucky to report that Shaka Shakur is off a hunger strike after about 10 days, and he is getting the medical attention that he needs. Okay, and they're also slowly complying to the demands that he had, which were demands that were normal. It wasn't outrageous. I want a T-bone steak or anything like that. His demands were basic human courtesy and decency that any human being deserves, even if they're incarcerated. He also wanted to be treated humanely. Okay, this is a shame that these are things that we have to beg for or go to extreme measures for. However, we are glad to report that things are looking up. If you would like to stay updated on Mr. Shaka Shakur, you definitely can. You can see the number on the screen, and all you have to do is type SS, text SS to this number that you see, 914-655-4993, and I will send information straight to your phone about Shaka Shakur. Okay. So we have a call to action. Let me bring it up here because I'm going to bring it up. This call for action is on a Bernard Jameson. I want to make sure I bring it up. We're also going to bring it up so that y'all can see it. Okay, so this call to action is for Mr. Jameson. Okay, Bernard was assaulted by 3 other inmates after allegedly being threatened by the warden after he organized a kitchen strike. The assault allegedly was a hit organized by Captain Johnson. Okay. Bernard suffered a broken leg, ankle, some facial fractures, and stab wounds to the head from the assault. Okay, he got hurt pretty bad. All right, the DOJ notified and began an investigation. Donaldson was notified that Bernard was to be transferred and to remain in the infirmary until transferred. Those of you that don't know what the infirmary is, it's like a hospital. Okay. They are now refusing to transfer him, and they are placing him in lockup. They are also denying all the video visits with him, and he is not safe. Okay. If you want to reach out, this call to action, we need everybody that can. Okay, give a call to the Attorney General. The Attorney General can be reached at 877 419 2366. Okay. That's 877-419-2366. You can also hit up the ADOC. All right. And that's at 334-353-3883. Or you can hit up Donaldson. Okay. That's the facility that this happened at. And that's 205-436-3681. That's 205-436-3681. Now, when I said Donaldson, let me make it very clear that that is a place and not a person. Okay. Donaldson is the facility that this happened at. We know that phone zaps work because we see that Mr. Sean White finally got released out of solitary confinement, and Mr. Shaka Shakur is getting his demands made. So when we come together and we work together and we collectively do something, we do see results. That's why these phone zaps are important. Don't think, oh, someone else will call. If everyone would think, oh, someone else will call, someone else will call, nobody will call. All takes a few moments to let them know that they have support. Some of these will have scripts that you can say. We try to make it fairly easy for you. So these are important and they don't go in vain. Standing together in solidarity to help those that have the inability to get the help that they really deserve is something that us activists need to be mindful of and try to stay up with. Okay. So we have a few protests that will be going on. We have a protest that's happening, September 1st. This protest is called Resist to Exist. Okay, this will happen in Montgomery, Alabama, and it is in support of Jameson, the man that I just spoke about, a gentleman by the name of North King, that's what he's known by, and another gentleman by the name of Kinetic. Okay. Um, they are currently on a hunger strike. Yes, they're currently on a hunger strike. They're trying to get their human rights. They're trying to be treated humanely. They're trying to bring awareness to the things that are going on in their facility. Okay. For more information about this and to also know who's involved as far as coordinating this, you can contact the National Plus Coalition, which is this platform that's very simple, right? You can reach out to Brooke Nicole, which is also a part of the Plus Nation Coalition. You can reach out to FAIR, that's FAIR. Okay, and these are also the organizers of this particular protest. You have the New World Order, National Human Rights Organization. You have the FAM Arm Queen Team. You have the OTCJ, and you have TOPS hosting it on September 1st. There are also people that you can reach out to get more information on this. And I do have an address for when this is happening. Let me bring it up for you. All right, so this particular Resist to Exist, okay, that's happening September 1st in Montgomery, Alabama, is going to be in front of the Departments of Corrections, which is where the Commissioner Dunn's office is. Okay, it's Wednesday, September 1st of this year, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay, and the address for this will be 301 South Ripley Street. That's 301 South Ripley Street, and that's Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, 36130. Everyone hopes to see you there. It's in the support of these brothers who are currently on a hunger strike. For people to go on hunger strikes, there has to be some dire things going on. So we want to definitely support them the ways that we can. If you can be boots on ground, they definitely invite you and hope that you can. If you can't be boots on ground, sharing the information, making phone calls, and things like that can definitely assist in getting things done and hopefully getting things straightened out there. So we have another protest that will be happening September the 5th. Okay, and this protest is in Mississippi. And this is in the support of equal rights. And it is hosted by the Jailhouse Lawyers Speak. Okay. The address for this, yes, thank you. This right here is the flyer for that. The address for that is 726 Byron Street in Ruleville, Mississippi, 38771. Okay, and as you can see, man, they just want to have the basic human needs, access to medical care, clean water, nutritional meals, education resources, and some visitation. When these things are lacking in your life, proper medical care, clean water, food that sustains your body, um, getting to see people that you care about, or getting to even see people, these things break you down mentally. And we don't want a bunch of people that's broken down just because they're behind bars, especially since they say that one of the things that they like to promote, which they say the prison system promotes, is for people to be able to rehabilitate and reintegrate into society. So it's important that these basic needs are not only met because it's humane, but it also, promotes a positive reintegration back into the world. That's one of the things that we want to ensure, that people that are incarcerated can integrate back into the world without too much stress or strife. Okay. The ways that they're discriminated against is outrageous, and we must continue to fight to hope that they can get some equal rights. Okay. Please know that you're definitely appreciated. So, when it comes to protests that are currently going on, all right, so it's a few protests that are still going on. In Wilmington, Delaware, you have protests that are still going on for Lamont Moses. Okay, Lamont Moses was a man that was killed by Newcastle County Police in Delaware, and the Newcastle County Police that killed him tried to lie about it. Luckily, in Delaware, Newcastle County Police had body cams. So what happened in this story is Lyman was asleep in his vehicle. The police officers say they were looking for stolen vehicles. Instead of running to tags, they decided to approach him. Upon questioning, he let them know, the car isn't stolen. He just wanted to go about his way, which most of us would want, especially if we're not doing anything wrong. Why is the police harassing me? The police ended up shooting him. Okay, one of those shots went through his head, and what they told on their police reports was that he tried to run them over. However, when you look at the body cam footage, which the family only got out of persistence and protesting, okay, people act like we like to protest. It's not, we don't want to protest, but it seems like we have to do these things in order to get attention brought to the things that's going on that's wrong. May I continue? After they got the body cam footage, they found out that that's not what happened. You can see him purposely swerving to miss these officers, uh, purposely maneuvering his wheel to miss these officers. And he never even got up an amount of speed to charge them as if, or charge them as they tried to imply. They tried to imply that he was just like, man, I'm finna hit these people. But he never even got up enough speed to assume something like that. So they killed him and they lied about it. So not only did that happen, the Attorney General, Kathleen Jennings, this is where most of these protests have been happening, um, sat with the family and told them that criminal charges were going to be brought against these officers. And they have yet to see this happen. This man was murdered January 21st in the beginning of this year, and nothing has come about it. So they will continue to protest and continue to use their First Amendment rights to try to get some fair, equal rights, something right. Now, the issue when it comes to Delaware is Leobor, and I'm going to talk more about that a little later. But I want to talk about some other some other protests that are going on. So I'm not sure if y'all saw or not, but there has been some video recording of some people in a school tonight of a fight, and we see a teacher who is much larger than a student laying on top of the student, and you can hear the student struggling and saying that they can't breathe. A lot of the other students and adults that were around tried with lots of effort to get this man off of this young teenager. When they finally did get him off of them, this grown man grabbed the teenager by the hair and still was being aggressive. Um, it was odd to see a grown man do this to a child. And unfortunately, there is going to be a lot of back and forth of, well, what did he do for this man, this grown man, to assault him this way? And I think that the way that black boys are made into villains is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is a child. Now, let's be real. If there was a black man that was doing this to a white child, I feel like the world would have interpreted it in a different way. But unfortunately, a lot of stereotypes, some consciously and some subconsciously, makes people want to ask, well, what did this kid do to make this man behave this way? And we have to remember that that's a child and that's an adult. Adults should not be assaulting children. It doesn't seem that there was any type of weapon into play. It doesn't seem like that was the type of thing. It seems like this teacher lost his cool and decided to physically assault his child. If that turns out to be the case, this teacher definitely needs to be fired, because if you cannot control yourself as an adult in any type of situation when you're dealing with children, you don't need to be around children. That makes you a threat. You need to be able to do conflict resolution, and you need to be able to follow the law. There's no reason why an adult should be assaulting a child. All right. Where did they say this happened? So this happened in Louisville. Okay. And the community has been showing up, Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. The community has been showing up since it's happened. So the video came out, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, and the community is already stepped up and is in full effect in the business of that. So remember, we have to stay together as a community. I know that y'all have noticed that for basic things to seem to happen, to get just rights, things like that, we have to do so much. But I know that can be frustrating. I be frustrated sometimes. Sometimes I be angry. Sometimes I be sad. Um, we have to keep up the good fight. We have to stay steady. When we see something wrong, we have to band together and try to do something about it. So that's what they're doing in Louisville, trying to come together and see some resolution out of that situation. I definitely think that the teacher should be let go, especially if they can't control themselves. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Um, so let's go to some wrongful convictions. So we have a few wrongful convictions. Please remember, you can always reach out to me on any of my social media platforms or at my phone number if you or someone that you love has been wrongfully convicted. Okay, I will assist you in getting your story out there. Okay, my platform isn't super big, but I have I'm pretty good at conveying information, and I have no problem assisting you. It's absolutely for free. All you have to do is contact me, and the number that you can contact me at if you need assistance is 914-655. 4993. You might as well just associate that number with me. Okay, there go the number. See how it pop up when I say it? That's that TV magic right there. But if you need assistance, you can call that number, you can text that number, you can text that number, I need assistance. You will get a text back. Or you can call that number and someone will answer for you. If they don't answer the first time, try again later. Okay. But texting is the best method. You'll get a reply quicker if you text than when you call. So if you need assistance, if someone in your family needs assistance, if you know of a case or wrongful conviction, or if you know of something that's going on in one of these prisons that is against the law or inhumane, please make sure you reach out to this number right here. Okay. And all you got to text is, I need some help. Okay. And I'm going to text you back. If I don't text you back, it'll be someone else to text you back. And they will get more information about your case so that we can assist you. Okay. So we want to talk about a few wrongful convictions. All across America, all across the nation, you will find wrongful convictions. More and more with technologies coming out as far as videotapes and audio surveillance and things like that, we find out there are so many people that are incarcerated that don't belong there. We see that there are times that the police and the prisons do the wrong thing, and the people that get caught up in it are wrongfully convicted or outrageously prosecuted for crimes that don't deserve the time that they get. There's a clear difference in America. There's two Americas, many will say, and you can find evidence of this where you have charges that are the same, and the black and brown people get more time than those that aren't. Okay, it's I don't want it to be this way. I didn't make the rules. That's what they're doing. That's what they do. So that's why we have to stay diligent. Okay. So one of the wrongful convictions that I want to talk about is Leon Benson. Okay, Leon Benson has been locked up for almost 2 decades for a crime that he didn't commit. There is evidence, witnesses that he didn't commit this crime, and he's still having a hard time. He is currently working on his case. I just recently did another interview with him that you can find on prisonriotradio.com. And we also did another video or another interview that's going to talk more about the music that he makes and the movements that he has. One of the things that I appreciate about Mr. Benson is his ability to want to help others despite being falsely incarcerated. I think that is very noble of him. If you would like more information on the Benson case, you can definitely text the number. What number? Do we remember? It is 914-655-4993. Text LB. That's L as in Leo, B as in boy. LB to this number right here, 914-655-4993. And I will send you more information on his case. All right, so we have a Marcus Blaylock. Okay, that's B as in boy, LALOCK. Okay, this is another man that's been locked away for 2 decades for a crime that he didn't commit. Um, he definitely needs some support. He's trying to get his story out there. If you're interested in more about his story, you can find his latest interview. Okay, it's not up on Prison Riot Radio's website yet, but it is up on my YouTube, and my YouTube is the J Rene. Okay, TheJayrene, and my picture is you'll know it's me. It look like me. How many people look like me? I always tell people I look like an alien. So just look for the alien. It's a cartoon. Okay, that's me. But you can find out more about his case if you would like to get a text and have it come directly to your phone more about his case. Um, you can definitely have that. And the number to reach is 914-655-4993. And to that, all you have to do is type MB. That's M as in man, B as in boy. And I'll send you more information on Marcus Blaylock. Okay. So the next wrongful conviction that we have Prentice Pons. This man has been locked up for almost 2 decades. Okay. Excuse me, no, he hasn't been locked up this long. He has been convicted for a crime that he didn't commit. He too has evidence. His issue is the judge is giving him a hard time about this evidence, saying that it wasn't turned in a timely manner. Um, I don't know everything about law, but I do know when it comes to common sense and human decency, it seems like a lot of these judges don't have that. Like, this is a person that's incarcerated. So how can we really hold them super accountable for things not happening in a quicker manner? It's not like they can go run to the library. It's not like they can go run across here, across there to get this stuff for themselves. They're actually really dependent on other people. So the inability to work with people that are trying to prove themselves innocent is mind-boggling to me. But Mr. Prentice Pons, he was assaulted in his home. He defended himself. After defending himself, he did the human decent thing to do. He rendered aid to this person that had assaulted him. Okay, and then he called the authorities. What you're supposed to do when you're assaulted, what you're supposed to do when it's a crime. He called the authorities. Long story short, the person that assaulted him lied, and Mr. Pons has evidence that he is actually not guilty of this crime. So this is another case of when the system fails, another wrongful conviction. Okay, we have the wrongful conviction of Kwame Teague. Okay, Kwame Dutch Teague. He is currently housed in a North Carolina facility. He is wrongfully accused, and he has served almost 30 years. Almost 30 years to the date. 30 years is coming up. Um, didn't commit the crime, has evidence, has the way the whole case played out, the fact that they lost his court records, and then when the court records were reconstructed, it was proved that there was stuff that's missing out of it. And it seems like the prosecution had a bone to pick with him. Okay, there was no physical evidence that tied him to it or anything like that, but that's what's going on. Those are just a few of the wrongful convictions. There's so many more, unfortunately, so many more, and all we can do is continue to try to assist those that are going through that, get the information out there, not only as activists, but if there's anyone who is a journalist, we need to talk about these type of things. We need to talk about the things that America, for lack of a better word, or the government tries to push under the rug. So those are just a few of the conviction cases. I want to talk to you more about Leah Bohr. Um, the week before last, when I was here, I showed you a video of a young lady that was speaking about Leah Bohr. But before I talk more about Leah Bohr, I want to show you this video again as a refresher, and then we'll talk more about it. So here goes that, you guys.
Okay, so what we recently passed SB 147 or 148 made it an objective standard. But the problem is, are these laws retroactive? And the answer to them is most likely no. If it's not A. All right, so the problem is Leah Bohr. Anytime we're looking at justice, we have to understand that the Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights affords officers way more privileges than any other citizen. This is the reason why repealing it is the only way we'll ever get justice, even with these amendments, because the problem is they're only going to do is get civilian review boards, trying to get retired cops to police cops. So, for example, what happens is, even if they break a rule, their records, their disciplinary records, are sealed. So you have no way of getting hold of their sealed records. When their statute of right or wrong, so you shoot into a moving vehicle, we know that that's against the rules. What we don't know is, what is the penalty for doing X, Y, and Z? And the penalties for civil violations do not translate to criminal charges. Okay, so in Delaware, for this up to deadly force, it was a subjective standard, meaning, do I think that I'm in trouble? Yeah. Okay. So what we recently passed SB 147 or 148 made it an objective standard. But the problem is, are these laws retroactive? And the answer to them is most likely no. If it's not in there that it's retroactive, that means that anything that's happened prior to this point, it does not apply to. So when we're asking for these
I'm not sure if it's paused for you guys. You're having a little bit of technical difficulties,
justice,
but
and we're asking for these amendments, when we're asking to repeal Leah Bohr, when people are telling you, oh, if we do X, Y, and Z, just come here, da da da, you need to ask them, will this apply retroactively? Because if it doesn't apply retroactively, literally you're reading this on Dog and Pony Show. Because you can say, oh, we're going to pass Leah Board, even if they pass it in January. Will it apply to January when he was killed? Will it apply to when Yaheem Harris? Will it apply to BAM? Will it apply to their cases? Because if it doesn't apply to their cases, then it does us no good. So that's the part that people don't understand. If any lawyer, anybody, you trying to get justice and they don't mention Leah Board as a pathway to justice, then they're leading you on a wild goose chase. All you're going to end up with is a check. Because that's what civil violations lead to. Checks, these civil lawsuits. They don't translate to criminal charges.
All right, guys. I hope that y'all was able to understand a little bit. But guess what? We're gonna double back and we're gonna talk a little more into it. So when I say LEOBOR, right, that stands for Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights. And the acronym for that, it's a few different ones. You have you have LEB as in boy, OR, or it can be LEOBR, or, okay, it's three of them. It's LEOBOR. Okay, and they're all the same thing. So right now I'm on Wikipedia and I looked up LEOBOR and I'm going to read to you just a little bit more in depth what it is and hopefully give you a better understanding. And then I'm going to let you know which states have it because not every state still has it. Okay. And I think that some of these might have fallen off the list since 2015. All right, so LEOBOR is intended to protect American law enforcement personnel from investigation and prosecution arising from conduct during official performances of their duties. Now you heard that, right? Let me say it one more time. LEOBOR is intended to protect American law enforcement personnel from investigation and prosecution arising from conduct during official performances of their duties, and provides them with privileges based on due process, additional to those normally provided to other citizens. It was first set forth in 1974 following a Supreme Court ruling in the cases of Garrity versus New Jersey and Gardner versus Broderick. It doesn't prohibit police departments from subjecting officers to drug tests. So this was pretty much created to, well, it depends who you ask, but it was pretty much created to help get officers off on their crimes. And I say get off their crimes for lack of a better word. And it gives them special privileges. For example, we're all supposed to be humans, right? We all supposed to be able to have a law that we follow, but there are, because of LEOBOR, there's laws that police officers just seem to not have to adhere to. For example, if I'm walking down the street and someone begins to talk trash to me, berate me, cuss me, call me everything with a child of God, if I go over there and put my hands on this person, I can be charged with assault. Now, in many, many, many videos, you will see a civilian talking trash to the police, and this police officer will come over to them and assault them. So, with this officer being assaulted, this officer assaults this person and they don't get in trouble for it. We've seen it so many times, and the officers don't get in trouble. LEOBOR is one of those reasons. Okay, let me continue to read. All right, there are 15 states have versions of the bills written into their statutes. An additional 11 states are considered similar legislation, and many other states having similar provisions written to their contracts and unions. Okay, now this is something that the critics say about LEOBOR. Critics say that LEOBOR makes it impossible to discipline or remove bad officers, included but not limited to after they are convicted of felonies in the courts. Under LEOBOR, officers are judged only by other officers. Officers are judged only by other officers. LEOBOR prevents the formation of civilian review boards that give civilians oversight over police action. So Leobor is pretty much made to protect officers. But the issue with Leobor is there's things and ways that officers can get out of doing the wrong thing. And unfortunately, there is a thing called the blue curtain where officers seem to stick together and take care of each other even when something wrong has happened. So because of that, Leobor isn't that great. It's great for the officers, but it's not good for the citizens. Okay. So let me tell you the states that have um that still fall under this. Now this was as of 2015. So some of these may have. Give me a moment. All right. So we have California, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nevada, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Maryland. So these are the states that still have Leobor in control. One moment, please. Okay. So let me say the states for you one more time: California, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nevada, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Maryland. These are all the ones that still follow under Leobor. So they have here like a few criticisms. Let me see. They wrote it out. So let's knock them out. I'll read it to you, right? So here's some of the criticisms that come with Leobor, or the fact that Leobor exists. So in Rhode Island, police officers can be convicted of felonies in civilian criminal courts and still keep their jobs after a hearing of panels of fellow police officers. You heard that right. But let me bring it back one time just to make sure you know you're not tripping. Okay. In Rhode Island, police officers can be convicted of felonies in a civilian criminal court and still keep their job. So these officers in Rhode Island can commit a felony. A crime supposed to be so awful, right? Because when regular civilians commit felonies, they just the scum of the earth, correct? Just so horrible. They still get to keep this job. So it don't matter what the felonies are. It could be assault, it could be race related, it could be anything like that. If officers say, yeah, come on back on the team, this officer is out there to wage war on whoever he wants to. And Leobor will continue to protect them from getting in trouble. Can we see a problem with Leobor and why it needs to go? Let's continue. So, what else got? Okay. Wow. So, even though being a convicted felon, you're not supposed to not supposed to be able to have firearms or ammunition, the law varies by state, but in most states, the officer gets a cooling off period before she or he has to respond to any question. So they get a cooling off period. So I don't understand. I really don't understand why officers, if that's the case, why aren't civilians given a cooling off period? It's like we're all supposed to be human. We all supposed to have the same abilities, right? When you're a fully functional adult. So I would think that a police officer should have a larger level of responsibility and supposed to have a larger level of just intestinal fortitude to not need a cooling off period. Everybody needs to cool off, but how much more professional is an officer supposed to be? I know that when I was in the military, um, you had to be your being professional was something that you were supposed to be. You really couldn't just say, "Oh, I was having a bad day," and commit a crime or do something like that. It didn't work that way, you know. All right, let's continue. Unlike a member of the public, the officer under investigation is privy to the names of his compliance and their testimonies against him before he is ever interrogated. Let me run this back because I can't even believe it. So let me read to make sure I'm not tripping while reading it again so you can see if you tripping. Unlike a member of the public, the officer under investigation is privy to the names of his compliance, the ones that complain against him. I might be saying that wrong, and their testimony against him before he is ever interrogated. So not only is he given the names of these people to where he can harass them or have other officers harass them or his friends harass them, he is given their testimony so he can get, or he or she can get their story straight. Tell me how that makes any sense. That's a problem with Leopold. Can you see the unfairness? You giving this officer a chance to be able to pull the wool over the eyes of those that's investigating. If they don't do it to everybody, there must be a reason. Why don't they give this information to everybody? Because it doesn't make sense. But they made it to where a police officer can get this information first. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Not at all. Let's continue. Let's see here. The officer under investigation cannot be threatened with disciplinary actions at any point during the interrogation. But how often do they do that to civilians? Threaten what they're going to punish them with if they don't tell, if they don't come up with a story, if they don't make it make sense, if they don't have a name to give. They throwing threats left and right. I'm going to throw you in jail. This is going to happen to your family. Your kid's going to starve because you ain't going to be there. But they can't do it to an officer. This officer that's supposed to have so much strength and integrity and intestinal fortitude, that is supposed to have a level of professionalism, that is a human just like the rest of us. Just like the rest of us. Of course, the officer continues to receive full pay and benefits. A violation of any of these rights can result in dismissal of the charges against the officer. So if anybody decides to have good sense, it's against the law. And if they break the law, it's a high probability that the officer will get away with it, whether he's wrong or not. That's a problem with Leopold. Let's continue. In nearly every state, the departments cannot publicly acknowledge that the officer is under investigation. So nobody can know what's going on. It's a big secret. Can't tell anybody, right? An officer can only be questioned or investigated by sworn officers. This prohibits civilian review boards or any review by anyone other than police officers. So that's where that blue curtain can come into play. So people with good sense, it's not enough to know when something's wrong. They want them to be judged by their peers that it's been shown and known to have bias. That's an issue with Leopold, right? Let's talk about something in Maryland. Maryland's version of Leopold was brought up as a reason why a police officer caught fabricating evidence and framing people on video in 2018 remained on the force collecting a paycheck. Yes. So Maryland's version makes it so officers can lie about evidence, fabricate it, and frame people and still get paid and not get fired. Shouldn't our police force have the utmost integrity? And shouldn't that be a standard that we insist on? But you're saying here in their own law to protect itself that yeah, you can frame people and you can lie about evidence and still keep your job. Explain how that can create a institution that has integrity. Absolutely ridiculous. Wow. What else do we have? So that's the few highlights on Leopold from a few a few of the states. I'm sure if I go state by state, I can find you a lot more information. And maybe that's something that I'll do for the next show because, as you can see, a Leah board is something that's going to take more than one conversation. Officers can frame people, can fabricate evidence, and still keep their jobs. Officers are given the information of who has a complaint against them, giving them their police officer. They have the ability to look up people's addresses, go to their home, their family home, intimidate them. They get to know everything that's being said against them before they have to say anything so they can get their story straight. Leah Board is literally assisting officers in getting away with crimes. And it boggles my mind that this can continue to happen. And unfortunately, we live in a space in America where injustice is happening a lot. But when you stop and look at it, it's so much happening, right? That's why I always tell y'all that you have to pace yourself. Because if you look into it too long, it will make you angry. It'll make you sad. You get depressed. You can get anxiety. There's a lot of things that come with it. That's why you got to pace yourself when you're on the pursuit for justice. You can't be at every protest. You can't be at every event. You're not going to be able to juggle every ball, this case, this person, that person. It's a lot. It is a lot. And don't feel like less of a person because you can't juggle 5 balls in the air. Maybe you can only juggle 2. Maybe you can only juggle 1. Maybe you can do 3. However many things that you can do, however many lanes, that doesn't cause you extreme anxiety, depression, and you're still able to move forward in your own happiness in life the much that you can, you got to pace yourself. You know, it can be hard. I hate when I let people down. I hate when I can't go to an event. It used to cause me so much amount of anxiety that it was affecting my sleep. It was affecting my moods, my ability to eat. And I had to pace myself. I had to take a deep breath and realize I'm not going to be able to be in every single fight. But the fights I can be in, when I can be there, I put forward 110%. So make sure that y'all are pacing yourselves. Realize that you're not going to be able to fight every single battle. And it's a lot of battles. It's a lot of battles. Pace yourself. Find your lane. Do the part that you can. Make sure you're taking care of self-care. Okay. That's part of the reason why this is pre-recorded. I got to go take care of some self-care for me, for J. Rene. J. Rene needs self-care too. You know, make sure that you're reaching out to those that are in the fight with you, to your comrades. Even if they seem like they're doing just fine, take a little moment sometimes. 5-minute call, 2-minute call. Hey, just checking on you. Send a text. Hey, just making sure you're all right over there. Haven't talked to you in a while. Making sure you're good. Right? We have to take care of each other because if we're not taking care of each other, we're not good. Who's gonna fight this fight for us? We're the only ones fighting it. So we have to make sure that we're all right, that we can keep up the good fight, that this is a marathon and not a sprint. Okay. So next week I'm gonna talk more about Leah Bohr. Next week I plan on having Leon Benson on. Okay, he's one of the gentlemen I talked about in the Wrongful Conviction. He's also an incredible hip hop artist, giving out positive hip hop artistry for our kids, for our people. I think you're gonna absolutely love it, especially if you are a hip hop lover. You are gonna really, really enjoy Mr. Leon Benson. He goes by LB. Hold on, he goes by L Bentley 448. Okay, it took me so long to get that down. I was stumbling all over that, but he's a decent dude. Okay, he'll be on here next time. And if you have anything that you would like to be presented here on this platform, please reach out to me. Please reach out to the Plus Nation. I mean the Plus Party Coalition. Okay, reach out to us. Let us know what's going on out there because we can't see everything. Send us the links. Send us the things that you feel like we need to see. Make sure that you add us. Please share the things that we put out because that's what's going to get our stuff out there, word of mouth. Please share this video, share the other videos, share everything. That's how information is power. If we don't know about it, we can't show about it. Okay. That's it for me, guys. It is time for me to go. I appreciate y'all for being here. You can catch me every Friday, okay? And that is 8 Central Time or 9 Eastern Time, okay? You can catch me here, Activism Across the Nation. I'm your host, Jay Rene. I'm brought to you by the Plus Nation Coalition. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Make sure y'all keep up the good fight. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and each other. Have a nice weekend. Peace, y'all.